Hey Haxters, today we are going to upgrade this plain Jane double sink to something a whole lot nicer. I have partnered with both Faucet for the faucet with a touch-free waterfall and normal, as well as Z-Wind for this incredibly beautiful sink. It's nice, thick stainless steel, great all around, very solid unit. It comes with a really nice drain port already, but if you're anything like me, you got kids and you need your garbage disposal. So you will need to pick up a garbage disposable flange so that you can get your garbage disposal in there and keep it all going good. The sink also comes with a few accessories. You got a cutting board, and these are all designed to fit perfectly into it so you can use it right there in the sink. Like I said, you have a cutting board, you have a rinse tray, nice drainage in the bottom of it, just like the board, fits right in there. And then last, you've got a spot where you can keep a little bit of water in there. Maybe you're trying to defrost something. It gives you a nice spot to keep it going. And again, it fits nice and neat right into the sink. And additionally, it comes with a grate that you can put down at the bottom so that you have everything elevated up off the bottom when you're filling it up with dishes or anything else to be able to start soaking. So we can do this whole installation with a very few tools, quick, easy DIY project for the weekend. So come with me, let's go ahead and jump in, get this old sink out, and get ready for the new sink to go in. Alright, so first thing you gotta do is unplug our garbage disposal so we don't have to deal with the electricity. And then second, you need to shut off your water. Double check at the faucet, make sure everything is off, and we're good to go there. The next step is we're going to have to start disconnecting all of this down here on the bottom so we can really get in there and have the room to work to get everything else out. So, let's start down here. You're always going to have a little bit of water in your drain trap, so be prepared for when that you have something there for it to drain it into as it comes out. Like I said, you got that little bit of water in there, and that's there so that it actually keeps the sewage gas from coming back out and you getting that sewage smell coming back out of your sink. And same thing, we're going to come up here and disconnect this drain line from the dishwasher. If you don't have a dishwasher, that's one step you don't have to worry about. Again, there's going to be some water in there, so just be careful as you're unhooking it, and then drain it into your catch. Oh, it's a good thing we were doing this. We got a broken clamp on there, so that was not going to hold up much longer, and we'd had a pretty nasty leak down here. All right. Need to disconnect garbage disposal drain. And pardon me for the poor video down here, but it is a tight space. And I am getting you the best shots that I can. Alright, once that is off, this should just pop right out. You got a seal. You're going to want to keep this seal for when we go to put everything back on. Alright, then your screwdriver can come up into here. And pop it off. This little bitty clamp right here. You're going to put it in there and you're going to turn to get it to come off of that nice little lip there. Again, screwdriver goes into here. You're going to be turning it to the left so that it comes off of this nice little ridge here. That's what, when that turns on, it locks it into that. Once you have that out, there is a little ring up in here that you got to get out, because we're going to reuse that on the new flange. Put your screwdriver in there and you can pop it right off. And then this part will come down as well. And get it loose enough, and then just get the rest of it off by hand. Alright, coming to this part, when you're getting ready to remove your sink, every sink is a little bit different. They're going to have different mounting types. The mounts that are on this current sink have a small, I know it's probably hard to see it, but a small nut that is pulling this up and in to pull that sink down. So what we're going to need to do, there are 4 of these. I'm sorry, looking again, there are 5 that we're going to need to get up there. Loosen that nut. Once it's loosened up, you'll be able to get it off by hand. And we don't have to take it all the way off, just enough to be able to turn this part here that is locking in to the bottom of your countertop. All right, so we got those 5 clasps removed. Now we need to go ahead and remove this sink up, straighten out. Sometimes it's going to be a little harder than others. Other times your silicone that's been holding it there isn't much. And that's the case with this one. So, that easy. It pops right up and out. And then we're going to throw this one to the side and move on to the next side. So, next step is we need to clean up this surface all the way around, get all any of the dirt that's been building up under that sink, all the old silicone off, and get it prepped and ready to be able to get this new sink in here nice and clean. Alright, like I said, we want to be able to get this all nice and clean. We brought you in a little bit closer. Easiest thing's going to do is to get yourself a scraper. That's going to be able to help you really get that caulk off there, but be careful depending on the type of countertop you have, you can gouge into it if you're not being careful with that scraper. So let's go ahead and work our way around the edge. Doesn't take a whole lot, just a nice smooth firm, and it will all that old silicone should come right up. Now that we got all that silicone out of there, next step is to clean that surface really well and make sure it is ready before taking that new silicone seal to keep all that gross out from getting down under your sink. Use your preferred household cleaner Now we're going to do a little hack that's going to save you some time when you are doing your finish work and getting it all cleaned up. When you're working on that silicone, you're going to put down some painter's tape. Make sure it's down nice and smooth. And we're going to put this all the way around the edge of where the sink is going to be touching. Then we're going to offer up our sink. Outline with a razor blade the outer edge of that sink. Pull the sink back out. We're going to pull up the inner part that we just, when we took the razor blade around, so that when we go to put it back in, we know exactly where we want it. And when we are pressing down with that silicone for the squeeze out, you won't get it all over your countertop, saving you a little bit of time for your cleanup. One more piece. All right. You're all done. All right. As you can see now, with the sink offered up, we have an outer edge of the blue tape still. We do have a little tight on this side, so we're going to add a little bit more over here. Then what you're going to do, take a razor blade, and you're going to, holding the sink down, trace right along the edge of it. Make sure you get the corners nice and neat. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and take that sink back out. And now you've got this intersection in here that you just cut. You're going to peel that off. So now not only are you going to be saving yourself time with cleanup afterwards, you know exactly where you're going to be putting your silicone down when you're putting this sink down to seal it into place. Alright, so this is another thing that if you're putting a new sink in, your future self is going to be very, very happy with you with. Install your faucet, and if you are adding either a water, a filtered water tap, or in my case we're going to be adding a dish soap dispenser, install those on before you drop it down, because if you wait until it's in place, this is never going to be fun. You can get it done, but it's a tight fit. Alright, like I said, we are going to save ourselves a lot of headache. We're going to install the faucet and the soap dispenser before we even put it back into place. So on your faucet, they're all going to be a little bit different, but most are pretty similar to this. We're going to have one part that screws on. Unscrew it because it usually comes already on. Slides back down and off. It's not the easiest sometimes because you got feed everything down. That's it. And in this case, because we are doing a touchless faucet, we better make sure that our sensor is facing the direction we want it to face. Again, we then slide everything that we're already using. So in this case, you got a rubber gasket and a washer. And you're going to put all those on. And doing them in stages because there's not a whole lot of room. And then you've got your ring that's going to go on and do your initial clamp that we then use a screwdriver to tighten it up the rest of the way. Once we get all that on, we can then go ahead and feed through the line. Feed through our electrical, since we are working with the hands-free option on this sink. So get yourself lined up, everything up. You're going to screw this first part on as tight as you can get it. As you're getting up close to the top and starting to snug, make sure you got everything lined up just the way you want it. And tighten it up. Alright, we get snug. Now we use a screwdriver and we are going to drive these screws up. And this is going to lock it in even more than what we can hand turn on just the ring. Our tap for the dish soap. Same thing, put it through. We have a washer and a nut. Washer always goes up. Now, when you take it, it's going to go. You got this little notch here. You're going to put it up in. And then it locks that piece into place for when we go in. Now we're going to have to do that once it's down underneath, just because we won't have the room, unlike the clips that were on the past sink where you can just turn it to the side. These don't do that, so you're going to have to install those and get them in place once the sink is down. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and get that caulk bed laid in place all the way around, ready to be able to put that sink down on top. I'm using some black silicone because we got the black sink. But if you're doing a standard chrome or anything else, you can pick whichever color is going to best suit you and that you're going to be the happiest with. But if you're new to silicone, you're going to cut that tip off then your caulk gun will generally have a pointed piece that you can slide out, and you go in, puncture it a few times, clean off that puncture spot just so that you're not fighting it down the line. Go ahead and push that back in. You're going to load the top. You're going to go in, then down, and forward. This gun has a key where you can push in here, and that pushes it into place, and you're now ready to start feeding it in. This gun also is the setup so that you can turn it, where a lot of guns are just static. It's in there going to be the way it is. So, like I said, to lay our caulk bed, we want a nice, clean bead of caulk around this entire outer edge. Start squeezing nice and slow, and then just control the amount of silicone coming out based off of how hard you squeeze. And in these corners where it's a little bit bigger, give it a little bit more, but make sure you're coming all the way out to the edge, because that edge is where you actually want your seal to be, to make sure you're not getting anything down under that sink as much as possible. Over time, silicone will start to fail, like we saw with when I took up the old sink. There was some dirt and everything that had gotten down in there. If you're starting to see that with your sink, you can always pop it up, replace that silicone, just to make sure you're getting yourself a nice clean seal all the way around. A little bit extra in that corner. And we're going to go ahead and feed down this last line. Extra in the corner. All right, again, if you're new to using a caulk gun, that part in the back, you're going to push it down, pull the pressure off of it, because if you don't, you're going to just slowly be dribbling silicone out of the end of the tube when you're not using it. Clean up the end of that tube just so you're not going to end up getting silicone all over the place, and then we can go ahead and set this to the side. We're done with it. All right, so we are now ready to go ahead and offer the sink back up. We know exactly where we want it because we had measured, put it all in place, outlined it, and got our silicone down in place. So now we want to just go right back where we set ourselves up at. Line yourself up in the back, pull your hands out, and get yourself down and in. And as you see, we're already starting to get a little bit of the silicone squeeze out around the edges. Bring you down a little bit closer for that. And see, we're starting to get that squeeze out along these edges. That's what you're going to want to see, but you're going to want to see it all the way around. And then we'll see that all the way around once we get those mounting clips in place underneath. So let's go ahead and move ourselves down there, and we'll start getting ourselves up top. As you can see, we got nice squeeze out all the way around. Now what we're going to want to do, easiest way to do it, there's all kinds of different tools you can use. I personally prefer the finger. You're going to come down, clean that bead up, wipe the excess off on paper towel. Nice clean line all the way around it. And the stuff up on the sink we can get up later because it'll come up real easy. Make sure you just run it back through one more time. Make sure you get it nice and neat down in that edge. Alright. Now we're going to go ahead and peel up that tape we put down earlier. And this is where it's going to save you your time. Cleans all that excess silicone off. Nice and easy. Glove off. Okay. Nice clean edge. I'm going to tape that ripped off. With your flange, see, it's going to be going, bring you guys a little bit closer. That's your flange. It's going to be going right in here. To get your waterproof seal, you need to use some plumber's putty. Take it. Pull some out. And you're gonna roll it up. You want a nice even part all the way around. You're gonna take your flange, just kind of feed it right into there. So get it all the way around. If you need a little bit more, don't be worried, just go ahead and grab a little bit more out. When we're squeezing this down and in, it's going to pull itself all together and make that seal as we do our mounting of the garbage disposal. Right. So, you get all that in there, nice and neat, like I said. Backed up nice up to the edge of it, all the way around. And this is going to go down in. You're going to push down. Don't worry about getting it all the way down yet. That's going to happen when we use our mount from the bottom. Alright, so we're going to be putting this back up and in reverse order of how we took it out. So first, we got the flat triangle part. That's going to go up. Then we have our part with the 3 screws. That's going to go in. Get that lined into those openings. And then we have that retaining ring. And that's going to go in so that everything is held into place. Not always the easiest thing to do with just 2 hands, but you can get it yourself up and in there and get it on. Stretch that ring out. It'll go up and over, and it locks into that groove. And see, now that bottom there, our piece here will not fall out. So get yourself all lined up. Hand tighten the screws to begin with. Make sure we're going in the same direction we took it out, so we have that one pointing to the back. That way when we go to put up our garbage disposal, everything will meet up right where it's supposed to when we start doing all of our drain lines. All right, like I said, get everything hand tight, and then you're going to come back in with the screwdriver and lock that all down. Kind of rotate around, don't put one in all the way. Work it around so you can get a nice even pressure the whole way as it's seating that flange up top. As you can see, that plumber's putty is squeezed all the way out nice around. It means we got a good solid seal. Just peel up the excess. I'd throw that back in your tub of putty so you can use it later if you ever need to. Alright guys, so now we're gonna hook up the electronics that turn our sink into the hands-free. Now, looking at the directions compared to how they have what's written on here, everything on our box says it should be this way, but the directions show it needs to be this way. Confirmed it, looked everything over, and saw that yes, that is exactly the way we needed to do. It looks like there was just some misprinting on the box when they were setting everything up. So you have the mounting bracket. We need to put it on so that we can lock in our location. And then move you back over here and get you set up so you can see what we're going to be working with. All right, you see there, we have this connection right here. That's what's going to go into this top barb on our electronics. What we need to do is figure out placement for this so we can get the mounting bracket up into place and then bring the actual unit back in. Alright guys, so what I did is I got myself a small drill bit. I'm just by hand going to get myself a little hole started, just so it'll be easier to get the screws going. Sorry, kind of blocking you guys there. You see, just getting myself a pilot started. All right. I'm going to use the screws that they came with. Butterfingers today. Right. Bring you up and show you connecting in that upper spot. All right, we're up here. Try to keep you as stable as possible. You need to connect this to that. So again, all it is just a push connect, and you want to push it until it gets locked into place. Give me a second, I'll get that locked in, and then I'll start you back up when we get down below. All right, now we are down here on the bottom. We need to go ahead and start connecting in the rest of our equipment. So your long black line is going to clip in right here. Again, push it until you get the nice click. And then you have your electrical connection. We're going to go together. Just going to line it up. Push in. Make sure you get nice and snug. And then you just screw this down. Nice and tight. Alright. For your power, you got two options. You can get a regular power piece, a regular plug-in that just hooks up here, but it comes with a battery. See right here, you just push that and it pops this out, and it just takes 4 regular AA's, and then that's what powers your entire system. So let's go ahead and get those AA's put in, and then we will mount up our weight for the drain, and it has a nice little spot there telling you where you want that weight, which is right here. Has the sticker marked install weight. Alright, so we've got batteries in our unit now. There's a little, let's see if I can get you in there, a little nub on the one side, so you just want to line that up with the unit, and it's got a little notch right here where that goes. You just push it up, and locks it into place. Go ahead and close this up so we're not using that. All right. Now we can come down to a nice, easier area for everything else, so it will give you a much better view going forward. All right, so your weight is going to come, it's 2 separate pieces that are held together by 2 Phillips screws. I said there's the sticker right here. That's where they want you to put your weight. So just feed that into there. Bring the other one around. Into each hole. Get each side started. And then you can get yourself lined up a little bit better. Make sure you're on point for positioning on that weight. All right, Haxsters, we are now ready to get this garbage disposal reinstalled. So you're gonna offer it up, so that there's little teeth that you're gonna want to get onto that ridge like we had before. I'll show you. So you've got this ridge right here, and on garbage disposal side, you've got this little tooth that is going to then start at this side right here, and then it tightens as you slide it around to this side, and then there's a little bump here which then locks it in. Place. Just turns, get it snug. Then again with your screwdriver, put it in. And lock it into place. You'll feel that click when it gets in there. Too much. Had the screwdriver in there too far, I wasn't gonna be able to get it out. It is now all locked into place. Now, the next step is going to be hooking up all your drains for everything going out. Now, I'm going to show you how I have to do mine, but everybody's is going to be different because nobody's drains are set up the same way, unfortunately. So, before we had one coming straight out. Now that was so I could have both things. Not needing that, we now want one that's going to come down. So bring that into place, get our screws started. We don't want to tighten anything all the way down yet. Just up. And you got your seal right here. Then you're going to bring in your P-trap. Nice and snug into place. I'm going to start on this back one here. Set things around till you get that just right alignment. There we go. Once you got that right where you need it to be, you can bring the next section in. Nice and tight, and then the last one. Get it nice and tight. Double check everything, make sure you're good and snug. And then last, bring the dishwasher back into place. All right, Haxsters, so we are now back here up top. We got all of our water hooked up, our drain line hooked up. We got our soap dispenser in place. All that's left to do is see if everything works the way it's supposed to. So let's test it out. There we go. We got water on. Swipe down, water's off. What's also nice about this specific faucet, like you saw, we had that nice rainfall effect. We can turn it, and there's a valve in here that then switches us to a standard faucet type. The whole thing also pulls out, so you still have your full faucet range. And again, all you have to do is turn it, and it switches over to a nice rainfall. Again, swipe down, turns off. Now let's go ahead and look at how all these accessories that come with the sink are gonna look in here. So we have the grill, we're down at the bottom to start. We have our drain if we want to put that in down there, or set it up top. We've got our tray for rinsing out our dishes, or rinsing off our vegetables. You got the one for soaking for your defrost. And then you have your cutting board. Now, of course, you don't need to keep these in here all the time. You can switch them in and out as you need them. Again, makes it nice and simple for wanting to rinse those vegetables off. Well, Haxsters, thanks for joining me. Got this nice sink put in place. Great new faucet. Everything is in just the way we wanted it. So don't be scared. Roll up your sleeves. Tackle that next DIY project you've been wanting to do. And join me next time as we tackle our next DIY project. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you next time.